let's go ahead and take a look at your journey on Pop the Balloon.
How many kids you got?
I got 3.
You got 3?
Yep.
How many baby daddies?
I have 3.
You got 3 baby daddies.
Yes.
Okay. How many kids you have?
I have 2.
How many baby daddies?
2.
2? Okay. So you didn't think after the first one that you wanted to marry the next one?
No.
No? How many
And
kids
your
you have?
preference? I have 3.
You have
25,
3?
18, and 12.
Okay. How many baby daddies?
2.
2. Okay. But I just want you to understand, when it comes to a man of top tier, we give you a few from one man. If you have multiple from a different man, that disqualifies yourself.
So it disqualifies a top tier.
He said nothing wrong. Like, it devalues the woman when you go through multiple men and have multiple baby daddies. We don't want to deal with that. If you got 3 kids and 3 baby daddies, it's like, damn, your decision-making skills are horrible.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Welcome, PBM family. Welcome. Yo, this is a little different this time, yo. This is a PBM called Old School Cops. And what we're doing, we're trying something a little different this go around. People are sending videos, right, that are just beyond police incidents, right? They say, come on, Joe, I know this is not your specialty, right? Because all you've shown us is your expertise on police incidents. You tell us how to survive encounters. Let me get a little bit of something that Joe, I know Joe has opinion more than just police. So I'm getting a lot of videos about a lot of things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a little bit more Joe and Shane's opinion about more than just police brutality. So we're going to touch on a few things. So whatever you want to send us, go ahead and send us. We're going to share our views and thoughts about whatever it is. Me and Shane look through the videos. We say, okay, we'll talk about this. Are we experts in this type of, we're men, we're married, we have children, we have kids. So yeah, of course we have a viewpoint on this. It might not be expert like we are in police incidents, but we can say that, we understand when a guy looks at a female and says, yo, you got too many bodies, too many kids. I could understand and I can see that. And I can, and it was kind of funny when the guy, the women was all laughing. They kind of felt, I guess, offended about the guy saying, yo, you got too many bodies. But the guy at the end, the way he broke it down and said, you devalue you as a female when you have multiple women, multiple men, and multiple kids. Like, yes, you devalue it. And I've been married for 30 years. Me and my wife been together since we was in high school. So this is kind of a no-brainer for me. I didn't have to worry about that because we was kids when we met. So yeah, but if you ask me now, if I was in a dating field right now, I probably would feel the same way. I wouldn't want somebody with a bunch of bodies. That's just my preference. And for all you women, I'm not saying, right, this to belittle you or degrade you, right? I'm not doing that. I'm just saying my own preference. I wouldn't want a female with multiple bodies. A high body count for me would be a deal breaker. Like I wouldn't want that.
I have to agree with you, Joe. Like yourself, I'm married almost 30 years, very long time. Kids, successful, married my girl when we was young, we was in school. And I like to put it this way. This goes not only for women, it also goes for men. And I like to try to put in little layman's terms so people don't get offended. If I had a resume, and let's say in 20 years, I've had about 20 jobs. Or let's say in 5 years, I had about 5 jobs. The first question the employer is going to ask you is, what happened with the last job? And I'm going to say, well, you know what? I got fired there because I couldn't get along with others. Okay. What happened to the job before that? Well, there was an incident at work. It didn't work out well to me. They told me to resign, so to leave. Okay. Well, what happened to the next job? Well, I was just brand new in the industry. I made a mistake. If you see the pattern here, I'm constantly making an excuse. This happened, and that happened. When a man or a woman has multiple children by multiple people, the common denominator is that person. I can't come to a female and have 4 or 5 baby mothers and talk about, hey, they're all crazy. It was them. It wasn't me. A reason a person would say to themselves, like, hey, wait a second. This guy has multiple children and he has it all over the place with multiple different partners. So a wise person would think, like, wait a second, that don't make too much sense. So the same thing for a woman. If you're out here with multiple people, 2 and 3 and 4 baby daddies, and your answer is, I didn't marry them, I was young, it was this person, it was that person, that's an automatic disqualifier. We can't, we're in a dangerous world, as we say. There's diseases, there's all type of things that's going on right now. And you should second yourself to different bodies when you engage with a person who has multiple people. There's soul ties, there's demonic preference, and we want to get deeper. It's just a lot for a person to deal with. So as a lady or a man, think before you do anything. If you have an opportunity, it's like, hey, you know what? If this situation's not going to work out, let me at least use protection. Let's not continue to populate and have children and have children and have children, and then expecting this knight in shining armor, or as you see sometimes they say on Instagram, just a real man is going to take care of me and all my children. No, a real man is going to run for you very fast.
Yeah.
So, take it or leave it. That's just how it is. And again, I'm equal. It goes for both sides. A fella, someone distinguished like us, sometimes on our police resume, have you done this? Have you stole? Have you did this? Have you did that? And certain answers will disqualify me from being a police officer. That's just the standard. They have certain standards. Same thing with on the job. Same thing dealing with man or woman. So some of us, like we said, like Joe had mentioned, we have certain standards. And a disqualifier, you having 4 or 5 children with different men. Now, different story. If it was one man, you was married for a number of years, you had 4 or 5 children, you're a widower, maybe he passed away, or maybe at that time something just happened, you guys walked apart. That's a little more understandable. But you can't come to me and tell me I got 4 fathers and 4 children and accept me how I am and just deal with it. That's not going to work. So I have to agree with you, Joe.
Hey, Shane, let me ask you something, right? And you touched on some good points, right? But I don't think realistically it works in a sense to where guys are held to the same standard as women.
True.
And so what do you think about that? Like, why do you think that, guys are allowed? I mean, it's like I grew up in the city, right? And you was more praised, right, on how many bodies you had than as a young man. But if a female had multiple bodies, they was looked at as slut and trashy. Like, nah, that's not wife material. That's something you could just, when you ain't got nothing to do and it's, you just want to get your rocks off. Like, but the standard is totally different, and you see that. And so,
yes.
What do you say? What do you think about that?
My thoughts are this. Now, women always want the bad boy type, the guy who's been in trouble, the guy who's been done this and done that. So women they go off excitement. If they found out through girlfriend talk in the locker room that Joe or Johnny has been with this woman, and it was so good, and I heard Susie said, yeah, he was so good. I heard Jennifer said he was so good. For some reason, some women, not all, want to find out what Joe's doing also. So they want to get involved too. It's like a rite of passage for them. The bad boy, bad credit, drug dealer, hey, that's exciting to them. That's what they want. So that's my opinion of the reason why men get a pass. Go ahead and lay your seed, do what you got to do. Oh, listen, he had all those women, but I'm the one who got them. Yeah, he had 15 women, but I got them. It's some type of prestige for them. They feel good. I was able to change this man. He's with me now. Hey, look Shirley, look Julie. So it's kind of praise, like, what have you. But when it comes to women, it's more like, hey, we're slut makers. We're not the slut, but we made you a slut, by engaging with you. I just think that's the reason why the standard is different. Women want the bad boy. They want excitement, and women thrive off that, and that's why there's different standards.
Would you think, right, that a woman, she looks at a guy with multiple partners or had experience with multiple partners as he's more experienced, and that's why, because guys, they don't I do a lot of mentoring with high schoolers, young people, and we do have these conversations because I emphasize safe sex, and it's crazy how, their mindset of these young people, bro. And I them, right? Exactly like my beliefs are on how they need to protect themselves. And even when it comes down to these women or how you pick a female, right? I try to get their views, get their thought process. And when it comes down to guys, they care, even at that young age, they care about bodies on a female. The females, I've never, and I do a lot of mentoring, male and female, and they never talked about when it came down to if a guy had a lot of bodies. Like, what are the things that you worry about? Do you worry about being intimate with a guy, right? Oh, well, I just want to make sure they protected. I don't want to have no babies. I don't want to catch nothing, right? That's normally a female response, right? They never want to know, right, how many bodies they had. But if you talk to a guy, right, and I've talked to a lot of guys, mentors, they go, yo, she had too many bodies. Like, I see them, like, yo, that's your girl. Nah, it's just somebody, she had too many bodies. I can't bite that. Like, second. But the mentality is just different. Like, women are not even caring if the guy had a bunch of bodies, but guys are caring if the female had a lot of bodies. So, go ahead.
You make a good point there, Joe. Honestly, in this environment today, as you know, being on the force, we've seen a lot of single parent homes. A lot of daughters and a lot of sons are seeing their mother head of the household. And sometimes there's a lot of men running in and out the household. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times the daughter may just emulate it. Well, mommy had so-and-so. She seems to be taken care of by these multiple men. I'm going to do it too. Mm-hmm. But for the inverse, for a young man, he's like, wait a second. Why mom got all these dudes around? This is not what I want. Right. And they wind up doing it. And I think, like you mentioned, guys and girls look at things completely different. But again, it goes down to having parents like yourself and your wife, myself and my wife, parents in the home to help guide our children. And I think that's what's really the root of all this. If you're telling your daughter, you're beautiful, you're special, get your education. And then when you get to school, get someone that's like your dad or get someone that's like your mom and try to build on that. There'll be more proposed to do that. But right now, a lot of men and women are just willy-nilly. Hey, I'm going to get what I can get. Let me try to get the bag. If he got the bag, if he don't do this, I'm going to get the next one who got the bag. The whole perception of what family and what working together is kind of warped. So I think society, too, has a lot to play with it. If you look at a lot of other cultures, Joe, the Indian culture, Asian American culture, Hispanic, families are really taught to women early on and to guys. There's a lot of Hispanic families, they stick together. A lot of these Indian families have arranged marriages, they stick together. A lot of Asian families, they do it so. So I think in our culture, in our environment, we don't see too many of that, and that kind of skirts our view on what we're doing.
I agree. Just one thing before we close it out. And I know the comments is going to be crazy on this. And I want y'all to comment on this. I really do, because we're trying something new. And I just want to see your feedback in reference to the topic.
We're not expert, but we're trying.
I know I'm going to get hey, Joe, stick the police.
I'll beat us up, Joe. They're going to get us.
They're like, yo, Joe, stick the police in.
Expert. Right. Dr. Joe and Dr. Shane. We changed our titles now.
But you was explaining earlier in your conversation what happens with the female when she's with multiple bodies. I don't think a lot of people understand that. Break that down. You were saying that there's a few events that occur when a female intertwines with a male. It's just not sex. It's more than that. Break that down.
It's more than that. Yes. Believe it or not, if you want to just break down the sex aspect, if you let a man, you have intercourse and ejaculate with, that semen stays for a long time within you. It doesn't just get rid of it, even if you don't have a child. And then you have another man and another man and another man. That's a lot of bodies and a lot of soul ties. So a lot of soul ties. So whatever that person is dealing with, that person inside you taking a part of that person with you. Mm-hmm. Things don't work out. You let that person go. You bring another person to the scene. You decide to get intimate with that person. Guess what? You're taking a part of that person inside of you. We don't know the mental state. Something could be going on in the background. There could be a lot of issues, but the more people we're with, the more problems, believe it or not, we are taking on. That's why we're not really meant to be with a whole bunch of people. I can see, growing up, we go down growing pains. We got one or two here, three or four things that happen. But when you start having children with these people, and then look into the future, you got to deal with this baby daddy. You got to deal with this one here. You got to deal, and there's so much drama and problems that go with that. Why would you want to even put yourself through that? Wait a second. If I get with this person and have a child, okay, I get with this person and have a child and have an issue here, you may have another issue there. Now you're juggling 3 people or 3 jobs, 3 dads. That's a lot to deal with. That's a lot of mental pressure, a lot of physical pressure that you're dealing with, and a lot of soul ties that you might be bringing things into your life that you shouldn't be bringing in at all because you're dealing with guys who are unfit. So a female, especially the female, has to think about that.
Right. And stop it for the guys. Stop accepting the way it is, bro. Like, and that's one of my pet peeves when I'm talking to young people. Oh, that's just what it is, man. I'm like, change it. That's the hand I'm dealt. Yo, reshuffle the deck. Like, come on, let's change that. And, I had a conversation because I go get my cut in the hood, so I have a lot of conversations in the barbershop, right? And a lot of guys, they want to have these conversations with me because first, I'm older, right? And
you're Uncle Joe now. You're Uncle Joe.
Yeah, yeah, right. I've been a lot of places that people from my community haven't gone to, right? Or haven't accomplished, and just my views on certain things. And that, for example, that like I took my boys, right? My kids are grown now, but I took my boys to the barbershop, right? It was 3. I have 3 boys. I took them to the barbershop, and just before I walked in, they must have been talking about baby mamas and kids and different situations or the problems that come along with having multiple baby mamas. So as I walked in, my barber was like, "Oh," he was like, "I know you. I know you need a drink." And I was like, "Well, what you talking about?" They was like, "Yo, we just was talking about, the headaches of having multiple baby mamas." He was like, "Those are your boys, right?" I was like, "Yeah." And this is when I first started taking them to this particular barbershop. And he was like, "Damn, that's 3 baby mamas, right?" This is what they said. I was like, "Nah, dude." He was like, "What?" He was like, "Oh, 2? 2 of them was about one and one not." I was like,
"Negative."
He was like, "Yo, hold up. They all got the same moms?" And I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "No way." He was like, "Yo," he called about like everybody that was coming. He's like, "You believe this is it?" He got 1 baby mama. He was like, "Yo, you married?" I was like, "Yeah." And at the time, it was like 20 something years, right? And he was like, "Yo, you serious?" I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Dude, I'm not doing a multiple baby mamas thing. Not just for me, for my kids." You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yeah. I said, I can't even understand having 3 different women with all these issues. I see why y'all in here talking about smoking and drinking, because you're dealing with a lot of drama. Like that's too much. I would go insane if I had that many personalities I had to juggle, and whatever the issue is, whatever the problem is, you got to deal with this and that. That's just too much for me. I couldn't deal with that. And they was like, "Yo, I cannot believe you got 1 baby mama, like, and you have how many kids?" I was like, "Dude, I'm married, and nah, I don't do the multiple baby mamas. I'm not. Nah, that's just not me." But it was just amazing to me, right, to see how we accepted that. And when I say we, the culture, the environment that I was in, like they was really bugged out. Like, "Yo, that's." It was like, "Yo, wait." I was like, because down the old stuff. Well, how you grew up? You grew up in the Cosby house? Like, it's like, I wish, like, that type of environment, right? I was like,
but you shuffled the deck. You shuffled it and made it happen.
Right. I said, "Nah, dude." I said, "Yo, I grew up in the projects. I went to foster kid, a whole I grew up a regular hood, inner city, poor kid, and I just changed the deck. Like people say, I'm just dealing with the deck." I said, "Nah, I wasn't happy with my deck, so I changed it." So I went certain avenues that helped me lift myself out of that community and be able to have a wife and have kids and to go to a nice school and live in a nice community and have to deal with multiple baby mamas. I said, we all see that. If you're born in the hood, you see it already happening. Why would I want to just accept that as my life? Like I'm not doing that. I never felt like I was always that one that went against the grain. So like you see me now, and you see the people I grew up with, they're like, oh yeah, he became a 5-0. That's different than all of my friends. And then get into the police department. I'm not going with the bull. Like, yo, we could do this job right. We don't got to be out here just beating people up to get the job done. You can respect somebody or get somebody to respect you without putting handcuffs on them and beating the hell out of them. So I was always totally against the grain when it came down to accepting the culture. That's why I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. Like, I get to have my own thought process. I get to view society, the world, the environment, how I view it, and then respond to that. You're not
independent thinker, critical thinker.
Yeah.
I said you're an independent thinker and a critical thinker.
Yeah, I'm just not going to do that. So I wish the community, we would start doing that. That's what we need. We can stop accepting the environment. Oh, this is why I'm like, nah, I might be here now, but this is not where I'm going to end up. I'm getting the hell out of here. Like, especially if it's an environment that you don't want to be in. And so, I don't want to keep rambling, taking up all the time, but this is something that we're going to talk. We're going to have different conversations. It's going to be about relationships because my partner Shane, he's been in the game, and not just the police game, but the marriage game. I mean, I think we as a culture, as a society, we need to see more people, right, on these platforms who have a history of being successful. Like, it bugs me out how, I see a lot going on, people giving advice. They're not even married. Like how are you giving marriage advice and you're not married? Like I'm not talking to a single guy about how I'm in my 30 years of marriage. It seems to be going this way now. What do you think? Like, there's nothing you can tell me. I want to talk to somebody who's got 40 years under the belt and like, yo, how do you do it? You understand what I'm saying? Like, I just don't understand how we as a society, what we tend to kind of gravitate to and listen to, because I'm not trying to hear a single guy tell me about longevity of marriage. I'm not. I don't care how many books you read. I'm just not that guy. So right. I want y'all in the comments, man. I want y'all really to let me know, right? Well, how we doing on this non-police topic. We're gonna have some more.
We're gonna take call-ins, so we wait for the heat. We'll call us up. We're waiting. We're waiting for it.
Yeah. And I want some. And normally on our police platform, we talk about police-related incidents. We normally invite other police officers, people with law enforcement experience. With this type of platform, it's not going to be cops. It's going to be any and everybody who want to talk about relationships. It could be a female that can kind of go back and forth with Shane about, okay, so you can have multiple bodies, but I can't. I mean, just to have an honest, open conversation, because, it's all about educating, because maybe she could say something that me and Shane as men can't understand and relate to, but if she explained it to where we've never seen it or experienced it, but we are open-minded enough to go, oh yeah, damn, I didn't look at it like that. You might have a point there. And so if you want to join the platform on whatever conversation, send me a DM. Let me know in the comments, because I'm reading the comments and I'm trying to respond to you guys as much as I can. So let's do this, y'all. I think this is fun. Y'all wanted to see a little bit more of our personality outside of police. You definitely gonna get it. So until next time, y'all be safe. And Shane, you close it out.
Yeah, just like Joe said, be safe. This is a new platform we try to go on and kind of change. So we wait for your personal views and opinions, and let's try to work this thing together. We only got each other, y'all. Let's do it.